Hi, I'm Daniel Gold, and welcome to the Leadership Lab. By day, I'm a partner at BDO USA, but this podcast is my personal project, completely separate and apart from my day job, but it reflects the same passion that I exhibit everywhere for teaching, mentoring, and helping others succeed through simple, impactful lessons. It is my hope that you'll walk away with practical takeaways to help you on your leadership journey. Thanks for being a part of the community and for joining me in the Leadership Lab. Before we go any further, if you have found these episodes and my past writing helpful to you, I need your help. The more subscribers we have at the Gold Standard Leadership Lab, the more I can scale for what's next. Long-form interviews with executives who are transforming their companies from the inside out. Your subscription signals that this work matters. And for paid subscribers, I'm building something even more. You're going to be able to gain access to exclusive frameworks, diagnostic tools, and templates built from real-world leadership experience. These include decision matrices, team effectiveness audits, and strategy scorecards. If you want tools that will help you lead better, go ahead and upgrade to paid. But either way, your subscription support helps bring more high-value voices into this conversation. For now, let's go ahead and talk about meetings. We say yes to meetings without thinking. We accept invites without a clear purpose. We show up to meetings without agendas, decisions, or urgency. We waste time because no one questioned the need for the meeting in the first place. And then what's worse is that we just repeat the cycle day after day. Now, in truth, remote work sort of made this worse. Every task turned into another Zoom call. Every check-in became a 30-minute placeholder. We filled our calendars, but not our minds. The culture of meetings didn't fade, it solidified. So let's talk about the problem by the numbers. Harvard Business Review reports that executives now spend nearly 23 hours a week in meetings. That number was closer to 10 in the 1960s. Meeting time more than doubled between 2020 and 2022 during the pandemic. Now, even now, professionals are spending up to 21 hours per week in meetings. 1/3 of that time is considered unproductive or unnecessary. That's basically 7 hours each week spent in rooms that didn't need to exist. And the cost, well, it's more than just time. Let's talk about what we're losing. Unnecessary meetings don't just eat up time, they burn focus. They disrupt strategic thinking, they take energy away from problem solving and building, they trade clarity for clutter. The work that matters cannot happen in these little 5-minute windows that are squeezed between phone calls. So instead of performance, we start managing perception. Instead of momentum, well, we're getting exhaustion, and we convince ourselves that being busy is the same thing as being effective. Now, the problem is worse because this hits your best people the hardest. That's right. The highest performers get pulled into literally everything. They're the ones you trust to deliver, but they're the first to burn out because they no longer have uninterrupted time to do the work that they were hired to do. The cost is also the mental cost. Back-to-back meetings don't just drain energy, they fracture your ability to think clearly. Your brain doesn't really reset between meetings. It carries cognitive residue from the last conversation, which is the lingering mental impact of the previous meeting. You begin one meeting still mentally tied to the one before it. So what happens? After 3 meetings without a break, cognitive performance drops by 25%. By meeting number 7, you're operating at about 60% of your mental capacity. So interruptions don't just delay productivity, they actually destroy it. Now, I've seen firsthand how the right systems protect attention. What we're living through now is actually the opposite. Constant meetings are wrecking the very cognitive resources that leaders need to drive outcomes. When we think about this a little bit more, leadership is really responsible. Meeting fatigue is not a scheduling problem, it's a leadership problem. Leaders are allowing this to happen. Because why? Because leaders set the tone and the teams respond to what they see. So if you are a leader and your calendar is full of low-value meetings, such as routine status updates that could be shared via email, your team will assume that that is the expectation. If they need a meeting to move forward, well, now you've become the bottleneck. Authentic leadership doesn't require a constant presence. It requires clarity and trust. That includes trusting your team to execute without your approval every single hour of the day. When you show up unprepared for meetings, your team learns that preparation doesn't matter. When you schedule without purpose, well, they learn that focus doesn't matter either. And so there's also a financial cost involved as well. Meetings are expensive. If you lead a team of 10 people, let's say each earning $75,000 annually, a 1-hour meeting costs your business roughly $360. Well, that's not just salary. Add in opportunity cost and well, the numbers climb quickly. I affectionately refer to meetings with 5 or more senior people as $10,000 meetings. Why? Because when you calculate hourly rates and what's not getting done elsewhere, that's the real cost. If those meetings don't produce decisions or outcomes, you've burned real capital for nothing. But the clutter cost is even higher. When meetings dominate the work week, people disengage. They become reactive. They stop owning results. They start waiting for direction. And that, my friends, that's how innovation dies. So let's stop meeting to meet. We don't need more conversations. We need more clarity. Look, if there's no agenda, cancel the meeting. If no decision is being made, pick another format. If it's just an update, ask for a written summary. Respect your team's time. Their attention is not a renewable resource. To help you, I've created a meeting decision framework. I'd like to suggest utilizing these 5 questions before putting a meeting on the calendar. 1, is the decision high stakes or irreversible? If yes, let's absolutely meet. If not, go asynchronous. 2, who is closest to the issue and has the authority to act? Let them decide. 3, what input do we truly need? Invite only those essential to the decision. 4, what is the specific outcome? If it's just checking in, don't meet. 5, what happens if we don't meet? If nothing changes, cancel it. There's also something I'd like to introduce to you known as the 3D protocol. The 3D protocol involves asking 3 questions to yourself. Number 1, decide. Will something be decided in this meeting? Number 2, delegate. Can someone else go in your place? And number 3, delete. In other words, does this meeting even have to happen at all? If the meeting survives the filter, it needs 3 things. First, a clear agenda shared 24 hours in advance. Second, defined roles in the meeting. Like, for instance, who's going to decide, who's going to contribute, and who gets informed. And finally, documented next steps before the meeting ends. Now, if you've gone through this framework and you've gone through this protocol and you've determined that basically there doesn't need to actually be a meeting on your calendar, there are alternatives available for those various different types of meetings. Let's go through a few of those. So for instance, instead of a status update meeting, use a shared dashboard or just written updates. Instead of brainstorming sessions, try asynchronous idea submission followed by a brief discussion. Instead of decision-making meetings, use decision-making memos with electronic sign-off. Or instead of alignment sessions, provide written clarity on goals and next steps. I want to talk to you now about a leader's meeting manifesto. Well, what does that mean? Well, 1, let's talk about modeling behavior. And that means declining meetings without agendas. It means starting and ending on time. It means coming prepared, making decisions in the room, and please end early when the job is done. Number 2, protect everybody's time. Buffer 15 minutes between meetings to offer a reset. Hold complex discussions when the energy is high for everybody. Block hours for deep work in your calendar, right? That means strategic time that's essential to you. Limit the meeting lengths to 25 or 45 minutes. Number 3, create space. Have a no meetings on Friday as an example, or block out all of your mornings for strategy blocks or that deep thinking, deep work I mentioned a moment ago. Have core collaboration hours. Review your calendar time monthly and make sure that you're auditing it appropriately. And then finally, 4, track your progress. Measure the meeting time as a percentage of work hours. Collect feedback quarterly of how we're tracking on each of the meetings that we have on the books. And track the execution rates on meeting outcomes once you have followed through with the workflow and the protocol that I've outlined in this episode. So if you do all that, what does leadership look like now? Well, let's be clear. Cutting meeting overload is not about efficiency for its own sake. Why? It's about creating the space people need, including yourself, to do their best thinking. Leaders who remove noise are the ones their teams will follow. You don't need to be in every room. You don't need to fill every hour of your day in your calendar. But what you do need to do is to model the gold standard. Clear the clutter, choose a focus, build a culture that values work. And let your team do what you hired them to do: lead, think, and deliver. Leadership now means knowing when not to meet. It means trusting your people to act without your shadow over their every move. It means protecting their focus so they can do the kind of thinking that leads to better decisions and better outcomes. This isn't just time management. It's an organizational strategy. When you protect your team's attention, you create space for real problem solving, real ownership, and you know what? Authentic leadership begins to emerge everywhere. You wouldn't waste financial resources, so don't waste cognitive ones either. And remember, as always, leadership isn't about perfection. It is about progress. Take this lesson, put it into action, and continue setting the gold standard in your own life and at work. See you next time.